Avengers! Assemble.
Yes! Yeah!
Hey, welcome back to ScreenCrush. I'm Colton Ogburn, and these are all of the Easter eggs, references, and little things you might have missed in the final battle of Avengers Endgame. We are going to do a complete, in-depth analysis of this entire battle and spot some Easter eggs that have been hidden away for years, but not anymore. The entirety of the Infinity Saga had been leading to this moment, and boy did it deliver, so let's break this baby down. And hey, be sure to check out our merch store, ScreenCrushMerch.com, where we have lots of fun Marvel-inspired parody shirt up for grabs. Thank you so much for your support. Alright, so right as the Avengers successfully assemble the Infinity Stones and Hulk snaps back everyone that Thanos had snapped away, we see 2014 Thanos' ship arrive via Tony's time machine with the help of an undercover variant of Nebula. Thanos then bombs the Avengers facility, and just as the explosion blasts through the windows, we see Ant-Man shrink, making him more durable and able to withstand the impact of the blast. Now here, behind Ant-Man, we can see War Machine's new armor that he will be wearing when Ant-Man, now as Giant Man, emerges from the rubble holding Hulk, Rocket, and Rhodey. When they do emerge from the rubble, Rocket is on Rhodey's shoulder and he cocks his gun with a look of, oh yeah. Just like this scene from the first Guardians where we see Rocket on Groot's shoulders when the Guardians form for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
Now, going back a little bit, before we see them emerge from the rubble, we can see Hulk holding up the debris just like in this panel from Secret Wars number 4. And then we get the iconic trio of Cap, Thor, and Tony approaching Thanos, sitting and waiting, echoing how we saw him sitting at the end of Infinity War following his victory, and foreshadowing when he will take his final seat following his defeat at the end of this battle as he dusts away. Now, you'll also notice that Thanos is holding stones in his hand, showing his desire to grasp the Infinity Stones in his hand, just like his future self did in Infinity War after successfully gathering the Infinity Stones. Thanos mentions how the Avengers have now gathered the stones for him this time around.
And then, with the stones you've collected for me.
And that line gives us another reason as to why Thanos is just sitting and waiting. He is waiting for the Avengers to approach him because he knows as this battle ensues, they will once again gather the stones from the rubble in hopes of keeping them from Thanos, but Thanos is confident that he'll be able to take them from them and they will have once again gathered them for him. So as the trio of Iron Man, Thor, and Cap approach Thanos as a united front, this is reminiscent of when this trio fought in the woods in the first Avengers movie. And we even get callbacks to that very first fight that are used against Thanos that you'll see here in a sec. Thor says,
"Let's kill him properly this time."
Showing that Thor harbors some regret for brutally beheading an unarmed Thanos at the beginning of the film, and that he is now looking forward to killing him in battle instead. As Thor charges up, we see his scraggly beard transform into a braided beard reminiscent of the many times we've seen Thor alter his appearance utilizing the power of Mjolnir. As the battle ensues, we see Thor immediately go for the head, having learned from his mistake in Infinity War.
You should have gone for the head.
Thor supercharges Iron Man's suit with a lightning blast, this time on purpose, unlike in the first Avengers movie when they are fighting and Thor inadvertently gives Iron Man a major assist.
Power at 400% capacity.
How about that?
Thanos' blade begins to spin like a helicopter blade, possibly a reference to the infamous Thanos copter from the comics that we would actually later see in the Void in the Loki series. Now, as Thor and Thanos fight, we see Thor summon Stormbreaker, but Thanos catches it mid-air. And I should make sure that this is clear because I've seen others seemingly confused by this. You do not have to be worthy to wield Stormbreaker. It's just a super powerful axe. There's no worthy spell on Stormbreaker like there is with Mjolnir. So we see Thanos put his other hand on the butt of the axe and he presses it into Thor's chest, just like Thor does to Thanos here in Infinity War.
I told you, you'd die for that.
So Thanos is unknowingly getting some revenge for his alternate self. We then see a resting Mjolnir begin to rise and then thrown and hits Thanos, then it bounces back into the clutching grasp of Steve Rogers, confirming what we've all long known, Cap is worthy.
I knew it.
Now, this is a callback to Age of Ultron when all of the team attempted to lift Thor's hammer, and we see Steve Rogers make the hammer nudge. Some have speculated that Steve was only a little worthy at the time and couldn't quite lift it, perhaps because he was still harboring the secret that Bucky killed Tony's parents, which he would later confess to after being caught in Captain America Civil War. But Kevin Feige has come out and said that Steve, being the humble and worthy guy that he is, was just sparing Thor the embarrassment and himself of the attention that would come with him lifting the hammer. So I think that Cap totally could have lifted the hammer in Ultron, and he knew that he could have lifted it but opted not to, and that is why he had such confidence in this battle that he could run up to it, pick it up, and use it in this fight against Thanos. And when he picks up the hammer, we hear this music begin to play. This is the same music that we heard here in Captain America, the First Avenger, when Cap takes this risky leap of faith, perhaps signifying that this was the moment that he became worthy. And now that music is coming back around. So we see Cap throw the hammer at his shield, creating this sonic boom, another callback to the fight scene in the woods from that first Avengers movie. And a callback to this moment in Age of Ultron when Cap and Thor do the move together.
It's like they're lining up.
Well, they're excited.
Now, as Thanos and Cap fight, we see Thanos grab Cap's wrist, not the hammer itself, taking us back to that elevator worthiness debate from Age of Ultron.
But if you put the hammer in an elevator,
It would still go up.
elevator's not worthy.
I'm gonna miss these little talks of ours.
Thanos isn't worthy to lift Mjolnir, but he can stop its wielder, just like the elevator can give the hammer a ride, or Spider-Man a ride, or hang on this coat hook in Thor the Dark World.
Is going crazy. All the stuff we saw spreading.
Next, we see Thanos use his blade to break Cap's shield in half, just like we saw here in Tony's vision from Age of Ultron, where he foresees the arrival of Thanos. And like in the comics when Thanos breaks his shield. Now, this also tells us that despite vibranium having been the strongest metal on Earth, that is until the arrival of adamantium in Captain America Brave New World, Uru, the metal that Thanos' blade is made of, as well as Mjolnir, Stormbreaker, and the gauntlet is just as strong or stronger than vibranium. It's even been speculated that Uru could be the same metal as adamantium, just given a different name on Earth. Remember, in the MCU, adamantium is found in Celestials, so it is a cosmic metal. Now, as Cap stands in defiance against Thanos and his army, we see Thanos looking upon him with what I would describe as pity, reminiscent of this scene in Infinity War.
You have my respect, Stark.
Now, Cap standing alone against Thanos is a callback to this moment in the Infinity Gauntlet comics when Cap stands up against Thanos and says, "As long as one man stands against you, you'll never be able to claim victory." As Cap stands ready to die in battle with Thanos and his army, we hear interference in his earpiece. It is the voice of Sam Wilson.
On your left.
Now, this is of course in reference to this classic line from Captain America the Winter Soldier, Sam's first MCU appearance.
Don't say it. Don't you say it.
Left.
Come on!
This is also foreshadowing that Sam has always had Cap's back and that he'll have his back when he chooses to retire. And we should also mention that at the end of the film, when Sam approaches an elderly Steve Rogers, he approaches him on his left. And look, not to be that guy, but I do have to nitpick the fact that this comm message from Sam comes in before the portal actually opens. So, like, are the comms not like walkie-talkies and have to be in range? Because, you know, Sam is across the globe right now over in Wakanda. So before the portal opens, the comms actually shouldn't be working unless they're like satellite comms, which that would work for sure. But then you have to ask, how did Sam know which side of Cap his portal was going to be opening on? Hell, how did he even know a portal was about to open? Did Wong give Wakanda a call? It doesn't make sense, but you know what? It's okay, because it's cool. As the portals open, see Wakanda, New Asgard, Contraxia, all iconic MCU locations. We see the Wakandans come out marching and chanting Ibambe, just like in Infinity War.
Ibambe! Ibambe! Ibambe!
We see the Titan crew of Spider-Man, Star-Lord, Mantis, Drax, and Strange. They dusted on Titan in Infinity War, so they reappeared on Titan when they undusted. We also see the Ravagers from Guardians 2, we see Korg and Meek, Howard the Duck, and a shit ton of sorcerers. We see Valkyrie flying a winged horse like we saw here in Ragnarok, and you'll notice that the portal that we see Wasp come through is a little portal. And then we see Pepper fly in wearing her birthday present that we saw Morgan playing with earlier in the film, the rescue armor. We see Strange look to Wong and say,
Is that everyone?
to which Wong says,
But you wanted more. more?
This is a meta reference, of course, to the fact that yes, we want more, but Secret Wars will likely give us that more, so it's okay. Now, in this wide shot, we can see a little VFX goof. If you look closely, Cap's shield in this shot is the full shield, not the broken in half shield. Now, you could say that this represents that now with his team standing behind him, the shield is symbolically reformed, or it's just a goof. It's a goof. And hey, that wasn't the only mess up in this giant battle. In this panning shot, Doctor Strange can be seen wearing the Eye of Agamotto around his neck, but we know from Infinity War that it was destroyed by Thanos. As Cap catches Mjolnir, he says, "Avengers Assemble," finally giving us that iconic catchphrase from the comics, which was teased here in Avengers Age of Ultron.
Avengers!
As our heroes charge toward Thanos, we can see Spider-Man swinging, but what is he swinging from? This is giving me Spider-Man 1 video game flashbacks. Answer, he is swinging from Giant Man. I love that detail and how it's a callback to his fight with Giant Man in Civil War. So as the fighting ensues, we see Mantis using her sleep powers to subdue this guy, just like she did Ego in Guardians 2 and Thanos in Infinity War. So Tony and Peter reunite, and Tony goes in for a hug, catching Peter off guard because in Spider-Man Homecoming, Peter thought Tony was going in for a hug only for this to happen.
That's not a hug. I'm just grabbing the door for you. We're not there yet.
So that's why Peter says,
"Oh, this is nice."
because it's a hug that he has long been waiting for from his mentor. So the time platform that was in the Avengers facility was destroyed when Thanos bombed the base, but Ant-Man reminds them that they still have the quantum tunnel time machine in his ugly brown van.
That wasn't our only time machine.
And that La Cucaracha horn sound was first heard here in the first Ant-Man. Now here on Tony's heads-up display, we can actually see the van appear on his map and begin to blink. We then see the Wasp and Ant-Man reunite, and we hear Wasp call Cap, Cap.
We're on it, Cap.
Scott smiles because this is a nod to this scene in Ant-Man and the Wasp, where she made fun of Scott for calling Cap, Cap.
The Cap needed help, sir.
Cap?
Captain America, Captain Cap. It's what we call him.
And right here behind Ant-Man and the Wasp, we can see Rocket and Groot having their reunion. Now, while Ant-Man and Wasp are hot wiring the van to power up the time machine, we cut back to a wide shot of the battle where we see yet another goof, Ant-Man in his giant man form putting a Leviathan through a portal while he's actually supposed to be down in the van. So this was either a variant of Ant-Man teasing the multiverse saga, or it was a goof. It was a goof. Now, when Iron Man lands to talk to Strange, we hear the same sound that has been used throughout the Infinity Saga for when the Shellhead lands. But we first heard that sound here in Iron Man 1. Now, if you listen closely here, we can hear the sound of the hovercrafts used by the Chitauri, the same sound that was used in the first Avengers movie during the Battle of New York when the Chitauri attacked. Now, at the start of the film, we saw Tony and Nebula playing this paper football game while adrift in space.
You don't need to do that.
And this was teasing the Infinity Gauntlet becoming a football of sorts and being passed around from Avenger to reach the quantum tunnel. Now, when Black Panther lands, we see his purple kinetic energy blast that we first saw introduced here in Black Panther.
Delete that footage.
This same kinetic redistribution of energy tech would later be used in Sam Wilson's vibranium wings in Captain America: Brave New World. So we hear Black Panther say,
Clint!
Give it to me.
a reference to this scene from Civil War.
We haven't met yet. I'm Clint.
I don't care.
Black Panther then makes some ground with the gauntlet, but then passes it to Spider-Man. Spider-Man is then swarmed and activates Instant Kill, a reference to this scene from Spider-Man Homecoming.
Activating instant kill. No. I don't want to kill anybody.
Cap hears Spidey's call for help and says,
Hey, Queens. Heads up.
this is in reference to Captain America: Civil War, when Cap and Spidey met for the first time and had this brief exchange after their fight.
Where you from?
Queens.
Brooklyn.
Thanos is then cornered by Wanda, and according to Kevin Feige, Wanda almost killed Thanos and would have killed Thanos in this moment if Thanos hadn't called for rain fire.
Rain fire!
What side? Our troops.
Just do it!
And, you know, Thanos' willingness to trade lives, sacrificing his own soldiers to save his own life, that shows a key difference between Thanos and Cap, with Cap saying this in Infinity War.
We don't trade lives, Vision.
Next, we see Okoye kill Corvus Glaive, getting revenge for his massacre of members of her Dora Milaje in Infinity War when they were protecting Shuri and Vision. So after Captain Marvel's badass entrance, and damn was it badass, we see her take point on the gauntlet from Spidey. Then we get that dumb girls get it done scene.
I don't know how you're gonna get it through all of that.
Don't worry.
She's got help.
And can I just say, I hate this scene because it's such a man's idea of what makes for a girl power scene. You know what's a great girl power scene? This scene in Infinity War.
He'll die alone, as will you. She's not alone.
That scene feels real. This scene, on the other hand, is so on the nose and poorly done, and it is a disservice to my ladies of Marvel. I mean, why is Peter asking how Captain Marvel is going to get through all of that when we just saw her shoot through Thanos' ship like a nuke? I think she can glide through Thanos' army, no problem. Anyway, Thanos throws his blade and destroys the van tunnel. He then gets his hands on the gauntlet, and we finally get to see him and Captain Marvel go at it. He tries headbutting her, and Homegirl doesn't even flinch. So he then grabs the Power Stone from the gauntlet and he grasps it in his hand to punch her. And we can see the purple energy of the stone begin to fuse through his hand, just like here in the first Guardians of the Galaxy when Star-Lord holds the Power Stone. Tony looks on in terror as Thanos nears yet another victory and knowing what he has to do to stop him. Tony's realization that he's going to have to take the stones and snap Thanos away, likely sacrificing his own life, is then confirmed as that one possibility in which they win that Strange had referenced here in Infinity War.
How many did we win?
One.
We see Strange lift his finger, confirming to Tony that yes, that's what you need to do. And as he lifts his finger, we can see his hands trembling. And his hands tremble because of his injuries from his car wreck in Doctor Strange. So next we see Thor fly in and he trades a few more blows with Thanos and he utilizes the worthiness of Mjolnir to stop Thanos from being able to take Stormbreaker. We then see Cap leap in and he attempts to help Thor pull Stormbreaker's blade into Thanos, but they're both thrown off and Thanos goes to snap, the Infinity Stones are glowing and their energy is traveling through his body, and then we see Tony jump in and grab the gauntlet, and the second Tony touches the gauntlet, we see the stones stop glowing. This is because Tony is now in control of the stones because his nano suit is directly linked to the nano gauntlet. And this time, instead of pulling the gauntlet like here in Infinity War, he shakes the gauntlet just like his dad told him here earlier in the film.
Shake that, don't pull it.
Yeah.
So yes, a fart joke saved the universe. Now, as Tony is wrestling Thanos for the stones, we hear this music begin to play. This is the same theme we heard in the first Avengers movie during the Battle of New York when Tony is making the sacrifice play. The one-way trip to save New York from being nuked by taking the missile through the wormhole. This is a full circle moment, and they are brilliantly using music to showcase it. In the first Avengers movie, we heard Tony and Cap have this exchange.
You're not the guy to make the sacrifice play, to lay down on a wire and let the other guy crawl over you.
Everything special about you came out of a bottle.
And this final battle proves that Tony is willing to make the sacrifice play and lay on the wire so someone else can crawl over, and Cap's lifting of Mjolnir proves that everything special about him does not, in fact, come from a bottle. His super soldier strength had nothing to do with his ability to lift the hammer. It's his big heart, which he's always had even before the serum, that made him worthy. So Thanos says,
I am inevitable.
of course a callback to his future self saying the same thing at the start of the film.
I am inevitable.
As Thanos realizes he doesn't have the stones, we see them begin to form on Tony's fist, and we see the energy of the stones traveling through his neck veins. And Tony says, I am Iron Man, the same line that ended the first MCU film, now concluding the Infinity Saga. Thanos and his army begin to dust, and here we can see Ebony Maw clutching his stomach and stumbling toward Thanos as he dusts away, just like Spider-Man did as he stumbled toward Tony in Infinity War, following the snap right before he dusted. We also see Proxima holding her dead husband Corvus as she dusts away, just like this shot from Infinity War of Wanda holding Vision's dead body as she dusted away. We see Thanos wobble over and sit down, and this wobbling of his legs was foreshadowed in his opening speech from Infinity War, where he says,
I know what it's like to lose. Turns the legs to jelly.
Thanos' dramatic final moment where he takes a seat in defeat not only was foreshadowed by that speech, but we see Tony and Cap do the same thing following their defeat in Infinity War. Thanos then takes his seat, and the tracking of the shot is identical to this shot of him taking a seat following his win in Infinity War. And that was a complete breakdown of the Avengers Endgame battle, the grandest battle of the MCU so far. Let me know if we missed anything down in the comments below, and if you're new here, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you get notified every time we upload a new video. For ScreenCrush, I'm Colton Ogburn.